TESOL Pop, Season 8, Episode 2. Hello and welcome to TESOL Pop, the mini podcast for busy teachers. My name is Laura, and joining me today to talk about creating content to grow your community is Amy from English with Amy Online. Amy has been teaching English for 9 years. She's taught English in various schools around the UK, Germany, Italy, and Malta. After spending several years working at language schools, she decided to take the plunge and start her online teaching business 3 years ago. Her blog, which can be found on her website, that's English with Amy Online, includes lots of English tips and other collaborations with educators. Amy, it's a delight to have you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
In today's episode, we're going to talk about how content creation has helped Amy grow her business. We'll look at various types of content that we can create, as well as what to keep in mind when we're planning and authoring content so that it can have the maximum impact with our audience. As with many TESOL Pop episodes, today's episode is relevant to many teaching contexts, so why not continue the conversation by sharing today's episode with your community? So what type of content do you create to support your own business, Amy?
So lots of types actually, and trying different platforms. My main one I would say is still Instagram, where I do reels mainly, and they could be from pronunciation to other types of vocabulary, and also some tips for improving English.
That sounds fantastic. What made you decide to pick Instagram? Because when I often speak to teachers and they're wanting to explore creating content, it can feel a bit intimidating with the various platforms that we have to choose from. But it sounds like to me you've made quite a decisive move to focus on Instagram purely. Could you share a bit about what led to that decision?
Sure, I think times are changing, and I don't know if I would have originally chosen Instagram 3 years later, but 3 years ago when I started this, it seemed to be one of the most booming platforms, particularly for videos and video content for students. And I saw a lot of other online English teachers doing the same, so kind of took inspiration from them and followed suit, let's say. And I think, I don't know, I just like the structure and the format of Instagram. I think it's got the right target audience. TikTok for me seems almost too young, whereas Instagram's quite a nice like working professionals, kind of 30s, that slightly older audience, let's say. So that was another reason. I forgot to mention as well, other content as well I'm doing is I'm really pushing for my website blog at the moment. So I'm creating a few posts per week on there, and that's kind of linked into my Instagram as well. I'm trying to connect it all together. So that means any Instagram reel I'll post will be on the blog post as well, mainly to build up some reading content for my English learners, not just videos and listening.
That's brilliant. And it's great that these things coexist rather than being separate things.
Exactly. Trying to link it all together is really useful.
So it sounds like content for your business provides a way to promote your work for people to find you, your clients to find you. What would you say is the main purpose behind content creation?
Yeah, I think it's a huge role in my business. Content, I think, really is the main way to build trust. So for any student looking for an online English teacher, they don't know anything about personally. They can see personality through the content you make. That's the only way now to kind of stand out, I guess, rather than those maybe say big platforms full of tutors, full of choice. The way to like individualize and personalize that is through personal content.
You've mentioned short videos such as Reels on Instagram. You mentioned your blog. There are obviously lots of different forms of content that we can create, such as podcasts that we're creating today. What other choices are there for educators in terms of the content that they can create and what they feel will really align with them, their skills, and their audience?
The list now, I would say, is almost endless. There are so many platforms. It's growing every year, every month. It's really about trial and error. So I really, more than anything, I advise teachers to try a few different ones and see what they feel most comfortable with. I've spoken to other online educators and teachers who don't feel comfortable making videos, but really enjoy podcasts like yourself. Something maybe a bit more, not rehearsed per se, but definitely a little more planned, you could say, than maybe I'm going to make a reel about this week or tonight. It's sometimes very spontaneously. really try a few different platforms. It doesn't have to be Instagram. It doesn't have to be a podcast. YouTube's a very good one. I'm hearing a lot about Telegram these days. Facebook as well, like Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups with students, and building like online, more personal communities. Really nice as well.
That's a relief to hear that we don't always have to be on camera to create content. Like you say, it could
Exactly.
be audio only. And like you say, with the new platforms that are coming to the forefront, Threads being one, competitor to X, of course, that could be just text and pictures or just
Exactly.
text.
Absolutely. So it doesn't need to be your face on every like every platform all the time if you're not confident in that way. There are so many alternatives.
So, thinking about when we're creating content, I know you have some rules that you live by when you're creating content for your blog and for your Instagram account. Would you mind sharing your top things that you look out for as you're authoring this content?
Absolutely. So I think key words here and key ideas are obviously keep it as personalized as possible. There's a lot of content I see that's kind of samey, quite monotonous, and doesn't stand out. An example could be like, I don't know, extracting a Cambridge dictionary definition with a picture, and that's it. Like there's nothing like that new or that exciting. So personalize it as much as possible. Again, that doesn't come quickly or easily for a lot of people, but play with it, see what works, try different ideas first, but keep it as personal as possible. That again goes to like authenticity. So keeping it as authentic as you can as well. I think students really look out for authenticity when there's so many online teachers, so much competition now. At the beginning, especially, I would recommend focusing on one format. Like I said, it can be quite overwhelming when you first start. Oh my gosh, there's all these platforms. I've got to dive into all of them. I've got so much to do. No, like try to organically grow just one at the beginning and focus on that one and see how much you can push that first. And I think a really top tip I have is collaborations like we are doing now. I think it can be quite isolating if you decide to create your own business. You've maybe gone from a language school for between 10 and 20 teachers to yourself. No manager, no senior teacher to lead you. It's just you. That can be very intimidating and scary at the beginning. So if a teacher or an content creator reaches out to you, take that collaboration unless it really doesn't suit you and you can't see any benefit. Generally try and say yes to that because it's a way to share ideas and to work together and to help you grow as well. You never know from that what it could gain for you.
I agree with you 100% because I really enjoyed the process of writing about some of the books I enjoyed for your blog when you asked me to be a guest writer.
Mhm.
I really relished in that. I haven't written
Good.
anything like that before. So I was stepping outside my comfort zone,
Yeah.
doing something that I enjoy because I love reading fiction and sharing it in a format that spoke to your audience. And I really appreciate that opportunity. I wouldn't have thought of doing that had you not asked me.
Good. I'm happy that you enjoyed it.
Amy, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you today. Thank you so much for sharing an insight into your business and what role content plays and your top tips. Really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much. Thanks for having me.
To find out more about Amy's work, including the blog that she mentioned, then go to englishwithamyonline.com or check out her Instagram. Again, the same name, English with Amy Online. As always, I've included the links in the show notes so you can find those easily. If you have a question that you'd like us to answer or you have an idea to pitch for the podcast, then you can contact us via Facebook, Instagram, or the website, TESOLPop.com. Finally, you can support the work we do at TESOL Pop by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast, by sharing today's episode with your community, or by even buying us a coffee at ko-fi.com/TESOL Pop.